Great stuff. Donnachadh, maybe I can start with you. Presumably you're not massively happy with the news that Rishi Sunak, who may well be our next Prime Minister, although it's probably going to be Liz Truss, has said that he's been accused of undermining the government's climate policy as he vowed to boost the production of oil and gas in the North Sea through a new regulation drive. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that we need greater energy security. Surely oil and gas, and if it's there, it's something that we should at least consider.
Well, the idea that people are advocating new investments in fossil fuels in a year when we're seeing record drought, heat, floods around the world, wildfires, and the impact on inflation with food inflation through to crops being damaged. I mean, Peter, we've passed 40 degrees centigrade. A month ago, the Meteorological Society were saying that we would pass that in 2100. We may be having 35 degrees more often by 2100. We may occasionally touch 40. 2 weeks later, we burst through the record. The idea that we would pour more oil on the fire is insane when the actual situation is renewables are now significantly cheaper than fossil fuels in many circumstances. For example, currently, renewable electricity is pouring billions back into the budget because of the way the deal is standard, because it's around a quarter of the price of fossil fuel electricity right now. So what we should be doing is investing in the money that Rishi Sunak is claiming we should be investing in fossil fuels, should be investing in weaning us off it. From anybody from a right-wing perspective who's committed to economic rectitude, we're facing the fourth recession in 50 years that's directly linked to fossil fuel inflation. The idea you keep repeating the same mistake as in saying what we now need to do is to invest the billions that Rishi's talking about in energy efficiency, renewables and storage.
Okay, that is a case that has been put very articulately, very clearly and without interruption. Ben Pyle, what do you think of what Donnachadh has said?
Well, fossil fuel inflation is a direct consequence of green campaigning of the like that Donnachadh is responsible for. I've got here an article he wrote in March 2021 calling for Mark Carney to call for a moratorium on new fossil fuel investments. Now, that's actually Mark Carney was years ahead of you. He was working to put a stop to investments in fossil fuels for much of the decade before that, while he was governor of the Bank of England. And as a consequence of those interventions by the bank and many people who were many organisations that work with the bank, such as billionaire Mike Bloomberg, who Mark Carney appointed to the Financial Stability Board's task force on climate-related financial disclosure. Now that's all very technical. What the result was that investment in fossil fuels fell because the cost of capital for hydrocarbon energy investment went up to a punitive level of about 10%, right? So the causes of hydrocarbon energy inflation are very well understood, and now we have what Greens have been campaigning for the whole duration. For decades. So in many respects, we've got green campaigns to thank for the situation we're in now. And I hear what you say about the dangers of climate change, but now people are going to have to ask whether climate change is a bigger threat as the energy situation as climate policy. I actually want to ask Donnachadh, I mean, that's really, really interesting, well put points there, Ben. I just want to ask Donnachadh another question, which is, look, this is a global thing, obviously, but nonetheless, the UK is responsible for a very small portion of global climate emissions. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to reduce those in some way. I think I'm probably on your side in a lot of that argument. But at the same time, if China is going to open a new coal-fired power station every week, if we're going to continue to buy lots of products from China, America, from big polluters and so on, is there actually much, I try to recycle. I'm at home, I'm putting my, copy of the paper in the recycling bin. And a lot of the time I'm just thinking, is this actually making any difference whatsoever, Donnachadh McCarthy?
Well, there's a lot of questions in there, Peter. Not sure which one.
Sorry. Just take them how you will.
Recycling to China, but I'll try. Picking up the China issue, there's some complexity to that. China is responsible for something like 70% of global investments in wind last year, and over 50% of global investments in solar. So it's not that China is not doing anything. So that's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is that, yes, Britain's domestic emissions are around 1% of global emissions, but we're responsible for 15% of global investments in new fossil fuels. And the third point I want to make is that it's the issue of leading by example. The reason why Boris Johnson is being kicked out as Prime Minister is because he didn't practice what he preached on lockdown parties. And we don't want Britain to be in the same situation, going to America, going to China, going to India and saying, the planet is on fire, we have to slash carbon emissions, you must slash your carbon emissions, and we won't stop investing in ours. That's untenable. We don't want Britain to be on the same position on the world stage as Boris Johnson is in the position on the British stage. It's about integrity for Britain, and it's about what's right for Britain.
Okay.
If we don't do what's the right thing to do, we can't expect the others to do it.
I want to go back to Ben. What do you make of those points you've heard from Donnachadh?
Well, I think that's pretty... there's not much one can make of it. It doesn't make much sense to me. Boris Johnson going hasn't got much to do with... hydrocarbon
but I think the point Donnachadh might have been making there was just that we should lead by example in terms of climate change, in terms of what we're doing. Do you not think that's something we should be doing? Do you think we should? I mean, this idea from Rishi.
Well, the example that we're setting to the world is that there is no possibility of a net zero economy. The whole world can see Europe's experiment with green energy has completely failed. The whole of Europe was. Well, it has. The whole of Europe has been going. The European Union has been, and the UK government have been driving this policy agenda for decades now, and all that the world can see is that we just increased our dependence for energy mainly onto Russia. I mean, I'm talking Europe as a whole, and increased our manufacturing, our dependence on the East for manufacturing. We have deindustrialized, and we have created a horrific economic situation for ourselves for no good end.
The industrialisation has nothing to do with the green agenda. But actually, let's look at what happened the last 10 years. Net Zero Watch and Global Warming Policy Foundation 10 years ago waged war on net zero. And the result of that was that the Daily Mail went, this is the green crap, and the government cut the funding for the insulation program. We were insulating 2 million homes a year then, and it was down to 130,000 now. So there are 16 million homes facing massive increase in bills next autumn, directly because of Net Zero Watch attacking it and getting the Tory government to slash that program. Secondly, they went for the...
That's obviously...
Just a final word from Ben, I think, on this. Just respond to what Donnachadh said there.
Well, that's obviously not true. There wasn't a net zero policy until 2019, which was the Conservatives' upgrade from the climate change.
Just let him speak, Donnachadh,
I haven't
please.
finished. Net zero was a 2019 policy under the late May government. That's a Conservative government. The Net Zero Watch, or GWF, had nothing to do with that. And if you want to look at the last 10 years, the problem was, since 2012, 27 gigawatts of coal-fired and gas-fired generation capacity has been taken offline because of European directives and the UK's green agenda. And that is why people are facing this constantly rising energy prices.